Good morning to all. First, I would like to welcome all of you to grade 8. As this is the period of science, I would like to tell you that you will be having Science Booster grade 8 by Srijan Publishers as your course book. In this book, the very first chapter is crop production. So today I am starting with this chapter. The topics which I will cover today, I will share its contents in the book accordingly. So let's start with the chapter. As you all know that India is a country of agriculture. Here most of the people depend on agriculture as their main occupation. So today we will study what is the meaning of agriculture, what are its two important main streams, and we will do a detailed study of both the streams. Agriculture means science of raising crops and animals. It is being differentiated into farming as well as animal husbandry. Farming means cultivation of plants, or we can say the cultivation of crops on a very large scale. Whereas animal husbandry, it means rearing of animals for their products such as meat, egg, milk on a very large scale. First, we will discuss about farming. Farming means cultivation of plants or cultivation of crops. Now, let me tell you what do you mean by a crop. When we grow a same type of plant on a very large field, that is called as a crop. There are different examples of crops. Crops can be cereal crops, crops can be oilseed crops, crops can be fiber crops, and many more examples are there. Now, the basic next topic is the types of crops. Depending upon the seasons, there are basically two types of crops, that is the Rabi crop as well as the Kharif crops. Rabi crops are also called as the winter crops because they are being sown in the month of October and November, that is on the onset of the winter season, and when they are harvested in the month of March and April. Whereas Kharif crops are called as the summer crops because they are sown in the month of June and July, and once they are matured, they are harvested in the month of September and October. The common examples of Rabi crops are called as wheat, gram and pea, whereas the very common examples of Kharif crops or the summer crops is paddy, maize and jowar. So basically, depending upon the seasons, there are basically two types of crops, Rabi crops and Kharif crops. Now to raise the crops successfully and to have a bumper produce, a farmer follows some practices step by step, and in these steps it uses a variety of tools. So these practices are called as the basic agricultural practices, and the tools which are used in this, they are called as the agricultural implements. So I would like to show you all the basic steps which a farmer follows to do the process of farming. We will discuss all the steps one by one. We will also be discussing what are the advantages of these steps, what are the different implements which are being used in different kinds of these steps, and how does a farmer does these steps. Now, the very first step is called as the preparation of soil. Preparation of soil means that a farmer prepares its soils for the process of the farming. Preparation of soil generally includes the two main steps, that is plowing as well as leveling. The first step is the preparation of soil, which includes plowing. Plowing is also known as tilling. The main advantage of plowing is that it helps in the loosening of the soil. It allows easy and deep penetration of the roots. That means roots are being penetrated very easily into the soil. They can go very deep into the soil, which allows better absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Third, it improves the circulation of air in the soil. That means it helps in proper aeration of the soil. And the last one is it helps in the proper retention of water in the soil. It is being done by the implement, or we can say the tool which is being used for this method is called as a wooden plow or a hoe or a cultivator. The next step after plowing is known as the leveling. First, the soil is being plowed, then it should be leveled. This process of leveling is very important because it's important for proper sowing of the seeds, for proper irrigation, and most importantly it helps to break the big pieces of the soil, which is called as the crumbs of the soil. The main advantage of this method is the very main advantage of this method is it prevents soil erosion, because if the soil is being leveled, there is no erosion by wind or water, which retain its fertility. Another one is that it breaks all the crumbs of the soil, and it helps in proper penetration of roots into the soil. So the first step is called as the plowing, which is being done by a wooden plow or a hoe or a cultivator. And the second step is called as the leveling, in which the soil is being leveled. The agricultural implement which is being used in this process is an iron leveler. I will share its specs in the book from the book. The second step after preparation of soil is selection and the sowing of the seeds. Once the farmer plow its field and then the leveling is being done, the next step is the selection and the sowing of the seeds. The seeds which are being selected by the farmer should be of good quality, should be free of infection, and should be disease resistant. And the most important is that the damaged seeds should not be selected by the farmer. He should select healthy seeds for the process of sowing. The first main step is the quality of the seeds, which is very important for good production. The second is the sowing. Sowing means process of putting seeds into the soil. But the farmer should keep this in mind, that before sowing the soil should be very moist and the seeds should be sown at a proper depth, so that there should be good production of the crop. So the process of sowing means putting seeds in the soil. There are being different methods for it. Number one is the manual method and number two is the mechanical method. The manual method means the scattering of seeds by hand. That means the farmer sprinkles the seeds with his hand. This method is called as broadcasting. It is a traditional method because this method results in unequal distribution of the seeds, as well as there is wastage of seeds takes place. But nowadays the modern method, which is by using a machine which is known as seed drill, this process is being done. The most important advantage of using a seed drill is that the seeds are generally sown at a proper depth. There is a proper and equal distribution of the seeds. The second most advantage of using a seed drill is that once the seeds are being sown at the proper depth, they are covered with a layer of soil, which reduces its chances of being eaten by the birds. And also it saves time as well as labor, and there is no wastage of the seeds. So the second step is the selection and the sowing of the seeds. So today we have discussed the first step, that is the preparation of the soil, and the second step, that is called as the sowing and selection of the seeds. There is one more process which is called as transplantation, which is being used by farmers nowadays. It's a method in which the seeds are first grown in a nurseries, and then they are finally transplanted, or they are finally moved to the main field. Because a farmer generally uses this process because so as to get a good production of the crops. Generally paddy, chili and tomatoes are being grown by this method of transplantation. So it's a method in which first the seeds are being grown in nursery. When they are being grown into a tiny seedlings, then these seedlings get transplanted into the main field. The advantage is that the farmer selects only the healthy seedlings which yield in good production of the crops. So today we have discussed what is agriculture, what are its two main streams. Then we have discussed the Rabi crops and Kharif crops, and then the basic agricultural practices that a farmer does, in which I have discussed the first two steps. So I will be sharing the pics of the chapter. Kindly go through the pages and bring up your queries tomorrow. Thank you.